there and welcome back to another Miraculous Ladybug Season 1 retrospective review, where I go back through old episodes of Miraculous Ladybug I never made a review for, and I give my thoughts on them. And today we're talking about Guitar Villain, which I'll be honest, watched that episode years ago now, and it has only just sunk into me that it isn't some kind of basic and boring title. It is a play on the game Guitar Hero, and so I'm feeling very stupid with that realization, but it is what it is. And so, yeah, nothing much else for it but to jump into things. So, anyway, we start off the episode following Jagged Stone in his room at the hotel. Imagine being so rich you can afford to simply live in a luxury hotel. Anyway, he's playing his new single from his next album to Bob Roth, who tells him it's good, but it isn't good enough because now he's number 2 on the sales charts, which seems pretty damn impressive if he's only just working on his new album now. Usually, it would probably mean that this has been quite a while since his most recent album release, so for him to only lose his top spot now to this new kid who just released an album, Mr. XY, I think that's pretty impressive. Means he's held it down for a long time. But not for Bob, because apparently he doesn't want his label to rep the number 2 star, and he wants him to do a duet to boost sales. A duet with Mr. XY. And I gotta ask, isn't this kid Bob's son? So why doesn't he rep his own son? So why is he even complaining? I assume he does. Later on, it's proven that he is the rep for his son. So what's going on here? Wouldn't this just be a dream come true for Bob? He's repping the number 1, who is his son, and the number 2, and they're both selling a whole lot of records. What a clown! Plus, wouldn't you want to keep their genres as separate as you can, so their fan bases are going to have less overlap, so you're not cannibalizing each other's audience, right? No? Am I wrong? Jagged then tells Bob he wants Marinette to design the cover of his next album, and then off Bob goes to meet Marinette at the bakery. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that he didn't send an assistant to go and deal with it. Like, the hell? And on top of that, he decides he's going to keep trying to reshape Jagged Stone's image into more of a pop star than a rocker, which, it's just so dumb, but it feels very accurate to me. The classic out-of-touch executive who thinks that since something is popular, everything needs to resemble that thing to be popular. I feel like Asterix probably drawing on some actual experience here when creating this character. I love to clown on the man. I mean, who doesn't at this point? He's just so easy to tilt, but I can only imagine how many dumbass executives he's had to deal with. Also, how much do you reckon Marinette's going to get paid for this cover? Like, it's a damn good opportunity, so yeah. And so she makes the cover like Bob suggests, using his design choices, the perfume ad design choices, and then she shows it to Jagged Stone, he doesn't like it, and he sends her off to do a new one. Honestly, this whole opening section, very slow, very plotting, probably didn't need the scene where she's making the album cover and talking to Tiki about it. Feels like it just bogs everything down, but whatever. And then we get into some actual drama, as Jagged's watching an interview that Mr. XY is doing, where XY talks some mad shit, calling him old and outdated, which in turn gets Jagged akumatized because, well, I don't think anybody likes to get mocked on national TV. And I gotta wonder, why would this little shit do this out of the blue? Like, what is the end goal here? He just being mean? Also, Jesus, Jagged getting so angry that he's able to destroy his iPad simply with his grip strength alone? Yikes. Always kind of assumed they'd be made with like reinforced super strong glass or something. And then he feeds it to his pet crocodile. Yeah, that doesn't feel safe. Also, imagine having a pet crocodile and just letting it wander around. How could you ever trust a pet like that not to snap and randomly eat somebody? And of course, it swallows the glass too. The glass. Animals die from eating glass. People die from eating glass. It perforates your insides. And then, of course, he's akumatized into Guitar Villain. But before we get to see that, we have a scene with Adrian and Marinette outside the hotel. They make some eye contact. Chloe then appears telling Adrian that she set up a meeting with Jagged Stone. It's really a nothing scene, honestly, although I did find it interesting that when Marinette starts talking to Tiki in her bag, for one of the first times ever, somebody actually notices she's doing this. Like, it's always been one of those things that you really have to suspend your disbelief about sometimes. Kind of like when they transform, and they're hiding behind a tree, but, they're still in plain sight. But here, we finally see somebody who's just like, what are you doing? I mean, granted, it is Gorilla, and he can't speak, and he'd never tell anybody anyway, but if only for a second I did enjoy this, because yeah, her talking down to her purse is weird. And here, almost halfway into the episode, we finally get to see our villain. And I'll be real, there's been a string of really good episodes we've been watching through season 1. This is not one of those episodes. Like, it isn't bad, but it's just so slow. Not much has happened, it's just a lot of little filler scenes without much else. Like, it's going so slow! There hasn't been an emphasis on any of the main characters. When Marinette has had scenes, they haven't felt important, nothing's happened in them. And so it's just kind of plotting and dull, boring. But yeah, finally something fun's happening. Jagged gets transformed into Guitar Villain off screen. Now he's gonna wreak some havoc. You love to see it. And I think the best part of this whole scene, and one of the best parts of the episode, is Adrian lifting Chloe off the ground and just putting her inside the elevator and closing the door. Trying to get rid of her so he can transform. It feels like such an un-Adrian thing to do. It's like season 1 weirdness in action, but it was just really funny at the same time. Loved it. And I also love Guitar Villain's design, and I especially love that Fang becomes a dragon. Just completes the look. Very, very rock and roll. Adrian transforms into Cat Noir, whilst Jagged goes out and starts blasting people with his special move, and he keeps spamming it, screaming out, "Rock and riff, baby!" and blasts people with his power, which makes them dance, and in particular makes them headbang uncontrollably, which, well, yeah, have fun with that CTE, I guess. And him screaming it out every chance he gets old very, very quickly, but thankfully Cat Noir intervenes to add a bit of variety to the scene, a different voice. But of course, this quickly leads Jagged to spam his new move, Awesome Solo! And that gets old quickly too. And him and Fang, a fire-breathing dragon at this point, they whoop Cat Noir's ass, like straight up clap this kid. Ouch. But hey, at least Cat Noir doesn't get one-hit KO'd like he sometimes does in later seasons. He looks tough here from all the punishment he takes. And very conveniently, Marinette's just around the corner, which allows her to transform and join the party as Ladybug, just in the nick of time to stop Cat Noir becoming charcoal. Jagged escapes, heads to the Eiffel Tower where Mr. XY is supposed to be performing, but learns that the concert isn't until that night, and then he's still at the TV station, so off he goes with the heroes in pursuit. And I still can't shake that feeling that nothing's really happening in this episode at all. And here, we meet Mr. XY, who, well, he's just a massive douche, isn't he? And so when Fang does snatch him and carries him off, kind of rooting for him to get eaten here. And for Ladybug and Cat Noir to arrive, maybe just a little too slow to save him. I mean, they can reverse his death when they reverse the damage anyway. Maybe I'm being a bit unhinged here. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe just forcing him to headbang for a couple of hours would be better. We then suddenly cut away to the nighttime, where a huge crowd has gathered at the base of the Eiffel Tower for XY's concert. And I gotta ask, has the news of his kidnapping just not broken? Has it not been reported on? Could they not see the giant dragon flying around? Or are they here to see if he dies or not? Or maybe all of these people are people that Jagged's hypnotized? If so, geez, where did he find the time? When you look at the bird's eye view, you can see it is a massive crowd of people. Also, is he going to execute this kid for real? Bit of an extreme reaction to somebody clowning on you, but I'm sure it happens in real life too. In the meantime, Ladybug somehow manages to tame Fang, which probably shouldn't be possible as he's part of the akumatization, so shouldn't he just be like connected with Guitar Villain? No? Oh well, sure. Anyway, they then have, I don't know, it's just a really dull fight. I am not feeling this episode. It is not an interesting battle. They fly around a little bit, they have a sword fight, an energy beam battle, and then bye, see ya, Marinette defeats him with extra strong hairspray, whilst Cat Noir gets clapped again. It begins. They then save the day, they reverse things, and Marinette runs home to create a really awesome album cover, but also somehow a sticker that smells like leather and sweat. And she does that overnight? Sure. Sure she does. Why would anybody want a sweat sticker on their album, by the way? Like, disgusting. Ugh. Also, she gets put on a magazine cover alongside Jagged. Surely that's going to lead to a lot of publicity. Surely that's going to lead to more opportunities for her. And Adrian even asks her to sign his album. Man, she is living well. Like seriously, based on all the stuff she does in the design world and whatnot, she is going to be a superstar. She works for Gabe making that hat. She does this. She's a champion video gamer at some point. Hell yeah, she's going to be rich. I tell you what, she is going to be rich, rich, rich. But yeah, I gotta say, this episode, mid at best. Not a fan. But it is what it is. Hopefully the next one's better. And so with all that being said, these have just been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the episode? You like it? Hate it? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.